Hello friends! This is just a quick video update to just share with you a little bit about what God's been doing in my personal journey and also in the ministry's journey. And I wanted to kind of do it like this. I really love the idea of the video format because you can be cleaning your house, you can be doing work, and you can still kind of listen and be updated. And so I thought this would be a really great way for us to stay personally connected. And so I'm gonna try and stay on top of this and getting these out as often as I can, just so that you really stay in the loop as people who support me, love me. I want you to know what's going on and what God's doing. So to kind of jump in a little bit, in regards, I want to kind of talk a little bit about what God's been doing in my life because I think it's really integral to what He's then been doing in the ministry as well. Last year, the Lord started to talk to me a bit about this next season of my life. And I always tell people, be careful what you ask the Lord for because He will do it. If it is something that He really is blessing, then He will do it. And so something the Lord had been talking to me about and that I was seeing in my life was that I had a real fear of finances. I had a fear of lack. And another thing that I was talking to Him about was my calling and wondering where I was called and what I should be doing. And it was this constant up and down. And last fall, I really took some time to seek the Lord, ask Him what it is that He has on His heart for me to do. And I really felt that I was to stay on here at LO Ministries Canada. And so I've now been here for 2 full years and going into my 3rd year. And I really felt like it was for me to stay. And what the Lord said to me in that time was, Eden, this next season is going to be a season of faith. And the other thing He said was that it was going to be a season of growing up. And so I didn't know at that time what those things would mean. And now I do. And it's incredible, but I kind of want to share a little of that journey with you. So I have been doing college classes, as some of you may know, online through a college in California. And I was mostly just doing my general education classes. And now I've finished those and I've transferred into a new school called Grand Canyon University. It's a really great Christian university based in Arizona. And I am working on a Bachelor of Arts degree in advertising and graphic design. And so when I picked this program, I really liked it because they do where you focus on one course for 7 weeks. So while that course is quite intensive, it's just one topic you're focused on. And for me, I learn really well that way. So I really knew that this was the school for me. I had taken a lot of time in the fall to really seek the Lord and say, Lord, is this even your invitation to be doing school while being in ministry? And I felt that it was. I felt like this school was actually a real answer to prayer in the way that their courses were set up. That I could give 100% to the ministry while still being able to get those classes done online. I mostly do my work on the evenings or on weekends, and it's been really doable. So I really felt like it was the Lord's invitation, but I also realized that the expense of Grand Canyon was going to be quite a bit more than what I had been paying with the general education classes in California. And so I really began to seek the Lord and say, God, what are you asking of me here? And I really felt like He brought back to my mind, like, Eden, this is a season of faith and of growing up. And this is something I had asked Him to thresh out in me, and He was doing it. And so when He kind of asked this of me, I was at kind of a crossroads. The school had told me that basically I needed to either pay for each course up front before it started, or I would have to take out student loans and kind of pay those back over time. And so I started to seek the Lord about this, and I just had no peace about the student loans. And I felt Him saying, Eden, I actually don't want you to be in debt to be where I've called you to be in ministry. And kind of also saying, like, watch what I'm going to do. Will you trust me in this? And I had a choice in that moment. I could choose to trust the Lord. I could choose to kind of step off that cliff. But there was some real fear in me that the Lord was dealing with. He was dealing with a deep root of fear of lack, fear of poverty. And I had some ministry actually into this, and I felt like it really broke something. And so when the Lord kind of brought this invitation forward. I was in a different place to receive it. Before, I probably would have run in the opposite direction and just tried to take care of myself, but the Lord had really done a deep work in my heart, and so I knew this was actually a real opportunity to stand in faith on what he had done in my life. And so I said, okay, Lord, like, I was probably a real baby about it. I cried a lot, but just being real. But I said, okay, I think you're inviting me into something here, and I don't want to miss out on that. And so there was about a week and a half where I was really back and forth, and I had some really faithful people praying for me during that time. And the Lord gave me a scripture in Job. It was Job 42. Can't remember which verse it was, number-wise, but it says, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. And it was really the Lord saying to me, like, Eden, you've heard about me providing for other people. You've heard about me being faithful, but now you're going to see it in a new way, like a completely new way that you haven't before. And so I really held on to that verse for dear life, believing that it was God's truth to me. And within that week, I put out some emails to some people that had been praying for me, that had said, hey, keep us updated on the school thing and ministry and everything. And I had sent out some emails just to say, hey, will you be praying with me as I'm kind of choosing to jump off this cliff, so to speak, with the Lord. And within that week, I had gotten some emails back from some really faithful people who had been praying, and they said, Eden, before we even got your email to be praying, we knew that we were to come and be monthly supporters. We knew that we were to come and stand alongside of you in this season. And it really blew me away. It messed with me in a good way. And it was the Lord saying, like, see, I go before you, Eden. Like, before you even have to ask, before you even think of it, I've already done it. And so it was just such a picture of his faithfulness to me, and really blew me away. And I had one donor come forward and say, hey, I will match anything that you raise in this year up to $6,000. And so that was incredible. And I'm just seeing the faithfulness of the Lord, and how he just said, like, just build relationships and I will do the rest. I will take care of you. You just be in ministry, build relationships with people, love people, minister to people, teach to people, and I will do the rest. I'll take care of the finance thing. That's easy. But for me, because it was such a place of fear, it didn't seem that easy. And so when the Lord came through so faithfully, it was just like, wow, God, this is what you're doing. This has to be you, because it can't be me. And that's the beautiful thing. When God comes through in a way like that, you know it's not you. It has to be him, which means it glorifies him. And so he has completely revolutionized that area of my life. And now I'm getting to see that in my ministry, how that's impacting my ministry. I teach quite a bit now on our different courses and things. And one of the topics I love to teach is lordship. And I like to teach it because the Lord has done so much in my life in this area, because when we make God Lord of every aspect of our life, that includes finances, that includes the choices we make, the decisions we make for our lives. And so this has been a real area he's threshed out in me. And so, you know, salvation is very different from lordship. Salvation is when we accept Jesus into our hearts and we become saved. Lordship is a daily decision. It's constantly choosing to make the God Lord of your life. And so I really love to teach that topic, and now I teach it with a completely different authority because I've had to walk it. And it's impacted so many different areas of my life, of just like, no, the Lord can do that. No. Like, I have faith to believe that he will do that. And I also am just really seeing that in the ministry itself, of where God is just coming through in ways we've never expected. We're currently running 2 discipleship schools, which are year-long schools where we go to a church, or either we run it here at our center once a month. And so we're currently doing one at a church in the Toronto area, and then we're doing one here at our center. And at the Toronto one, I think we have about 55 guests attending. And here at our center, we have probably about 30. And so it's really incredible to see God changing these people's lives as they're coming. They're getting foundational teaching, biblical teaching, but it's revolutionizing their lives because the Lord is really speaking through it, and then they're given the opportunity to receive ministry as well. And so I've been really privileged to be a part of that. I lead worship for quite a few of our courses here at the center. I teach for quite a few of them as well. We've also been running our Restoration Week here And that's a week-long retreat where we have about 8 guests, and they come, and it's an intensive week of receiving ministry every day, but also being able to enjoy creativity throughout the week to really allow God to minister to the deep places of hurt, abuse, fear, rejection, the deep places of real wounding. And so it's been really incredible to see people's lives being changed through that as well. We also ran a young adults retreat here last month, and we had about 6 married couples of young adults come and stay here, and we got to just teach them and pour into them, and that was really beautiful. But we also hosted a youth retreat in February as well, and that for me was one of the greatest privileges. My heart is for young people. My heart is for the younger generation, and to see about 13 or 14 young adults come in here between the ages of 13 and 18. And they came, and their hearts are so open to the Lord. But this particular youth group, we've had them here for retreats before, and we just love them. And they're a really, really special group of young people, and they just have really open hearts to the Lord. And so it was really easy to go deep with them and to teach them. Our whole topic was around wounding, how we get wounded, how we react out of our wounds, and then how do we let God come in and heal those wounds, and how does that impact our life going forward. And so it was really incredible because these young people are getting teaching to be able to radically change their lives and walk so that they don't go into adulthood carrying as much baggage, because they're giving it over to the Lord. And now they have tools and strategies about how to deal with wounding, deal with rejection, deal with bullying, deal with parental issues. And that's incredible. Not a lot of young people get to have that. And so they were so open. There were different worship times. They would be down at the cross on their knees, giving their lives to the Lord, giving Him lordship, interceding for their families. It was absolutely beautiful. I cried a lot during that too, because it was just so precious to get to see young people choosing the Lord in such intense ways. And we're already seeing good fruit from that youth retreat. 2 of the girls said, we got together for a sleepover. We wound up writing letters to our dads, talking about the relationships we'd really like to have with them, and went through some time of just praying for our family. Another girl, her mom hadn't been to church in a really long time and rarely goes, and she's kind of the one who actually, the only real Christian in her home. She's like 15, and her mom came to church that next Sunday to hear her share about her time at the youth retreat, and that was a huge testament to the Lord. We're doing more courses than we've ever run before, and it's incredible, but we are praying to the Lord for more team, that He'd keep bringing people in, because we're starting to get to the point where what the Lord is doing is kind of starting to outgrow our team a little bit, and so we're really praying for a few new team members, and believing that He's going to do it. And so He's doing really incredible things in my life, in the ministry, and honestly, you are a huge part of that. You are a part of making this happen. What God is doing in my life, what He's doing here in the ministry, in young people's lives, in the hundreds of people we have coming through our doors every year, it's changing the world, and you are a part of that. And I am so beyond grateful, not just for the financial gifts, although I'm so grateful for that as well, because it helps me be able to be here doing what I'm doing, but for the prayer, for the people who support me, for the people who text message me randomly and say, hey, I'm thinking about you, praying for you. That is incredible. You have no idea what a blessing that is. It is a huge part of what I'm doing. To have that support is actually crucial. I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys, knowing that you're praying for me, knowing that you love me, and I just am so beyond grateful, and I can't even express it enough, but I hope some of that has come through. But just to know that I am beyond grateful for what you are doing, to sow into God's kingdom. You're sowing into what the Lord is doing through this ministry, through my life, and I can't thank you enough. And I know, and I pray for you often. I pray for you by name, and I think of you often, and hopefully you know that, and try to check in and things like that. But just know that you are very much loved and prayed for as well, and I know God is going to bless you tenfold for how you're giving, and that is my prayer for you, that He would really bless you and encourage you to know that what you're doing, what you're giving towards through prayer and through finances is changing the world. And so I just thank you for who you are in my life. Love you, and I'll talk to you next month. Okay, bye.